I'm your host, Looki, and I'm thrilled to be back with you all today.
And I'm Emma, Looki's co-host, and I'm equally excited to dive into today's topic. We've been getting so many great requests from our listeners, and this one felt particularly relevant in our increasingly globalized world.
Exactly, Emma. Today, we're tackling a fascinating and sometimes challenging subject: navigating cultural differences in the workplace. It's something many of us encounter, whether we're working in multinational companies or even just with colleagues from different backgrounds within our own country.
It's true, even within a single country, regional differences can create mini cultural clashes. But let's focus on the broader international aspects. Luki, what sparked your interest in this topic initially?
Well, I remember early in my career, I was working on a project with a team based in Japan. I was used to a very direct, assertive communication style, and I was completely thrown off by their more indirect, consensus driven approach. I made some missteps, I think, but I learned a lot about the importance of cultural sensitivity and adapting my communication style.
That's a great point. Directness can be perceived very differently in different cultures. In some, it's seen as honesty and efficiency, while in others, it can be considered rude or even aggressive.
Exactly. And that's just one example. There are so many nuances involved, from communication styles to attitudes towards hierarchy, time management, and even social customs. Let's start with communication. What are some of the key differences you've observed, Emma?
Well, as we mentioned, direct versus indirect communication is a big one. But even within those categories, there are variations. For instance, in some cultures, it's very common to use silence to signal disagreement or disapproval. In others, silence might simply indicate that someone is thinking carefully before responding. Learning to interpret those nonverbal cues is crucial. Also, physical space varies a lot as well. What might be normal in one area of the world is too close for someone from another culture.
Absolutely. And the concept of saving face, maintaining dignity, and avoiding embarrassment is another crucial factor to consider. In some cultures, it's incredibly important to avoid directly criticizing someone in public, even if they've made a mistake. Offering constructive feedback privately and focusing on the positive aspects is often the best approach.
I think the key is to remember that everyone's behavior is shaped by their cultural background, and what seems normal to you might not be normal to someone else. And it's not about judging one culture as better or worse than another. It's about understanding and respecting those differences.
Exactly. It's about developing cultural intelligence, or CQ, as some experts call it. CQ is the ability to understand and adapt to different cultural contexts. It involves being aware of your own cultural biases, understanding the cultural values and norms of others, and being able to adapt your behavior accordingly.
So, what are some practical tips for developing CQ in the workplace?
One of the most important things is to do your research. Before interacting with colleagues from a different culture, take some time to learn about their cultural values, communication styles, and social customs. There are tons of resources available online, in books, and even through cultural awareness training programs.
That's a great start. Another tip is to actively listen and observe. Pay attention to how your colleagues communicate, both verbally and nonverbally. Ask clarifying questions if you're unsure about something, but do so respectfully and avoid making assumptions.
And be mindful of your own communication style. Try to adapt your approach to better align with the cultural norms of your colleagues. For example, if you're used to being very direct, try to soften your language and be more indirect in your communication.
It's also important to be patient and understanding. It takes time to build relationships and develop trust, especially across cultural divides. Don't get discouraged if you experience misunderstandings or miscommunications along the way. Learn from your mistakes and keep trying.
And don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're struggling to navigate a cultural difference, reach out to a colleague, mentor, or HR professional for guidance. They can offer valuable insights and support.
Another thing that I feel is important is to learn a bit of the other culture's language. Even a few words is a nice way to show you're willing to engage with the other culture. It shows you're not expecting them to do all the work in the interaction.
Definitely. And it's not just about avoiding misunderstandings. It's also about building stronger relationships and fostering a more inclusive work environment. When we embrace cultural diversity, we create a workplace where everyone feels valued, respected, and empowered to contribute their best work.
I think it helps to view cultural differences as opportunities for learning and growth. Each culture brings unique perspectives, skills, and experiences to the table. By embracing those differences, we can become more innovative, creative, and effective as individuals and as a team.
Couldn't agree more. And it's important to remember that culture is not static. It's constantly evolving and changing. So what was considered appropriate or acceptable in the past might not be today. So it's important to stay informed and continue learning about different cultures throughout your career.
Absolutely. And it's also important to recognize that individuals within a culture are not all the same. There will always be variations in personality, experience, and background. So avoid making generalizations or stereotypes. Treat each person as an individual and get to know them on their own terms.
That's a great point. It's about striking a balance between understanding cultural norms and recognizing individual differences.
So, Lukey, to summarize, what are the top 3 takeaways from our conversation today?
Okay, here are my top three. Do your research and learn about different cultures. The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to navigate cultural differences in the workplace. Actively listen and observe. Pay attention to how your colleagues communicate and adapt your style accordingly. And embrace cultural diversity as an opportunity for learning and growth. By valuing and respecting different perspectives, you can create a more inclusive and productive work environment.
And I would add, be patient and understanding. Building relationships across cultural divides takes time and effort. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Seek guidance from colleagues, mentors, or HR professionals when you're struggling. Don't make assumptions. Avoid making generalizations or stereotypes, and treat each person as an individual.
That's a great point. It's about striking a balance between understanding cultural norms and recognizing individual differences.
So, Luki, to summarize, what are the key things for us to remember when trying to navigate cultural differences in our workplace?
Okay, here are a few key takeaways for you. 1. Do your research and learn about different cultures. The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to navigate cultural differences in the workplace. 2. Actively listen and observe. Pay attention to how your colleagues communicate and adapt your style accordingly. 3. Embrace cultural diversity as an opportunity for learning and growth. By valuing and respecting different perspectives, you can create a more inclusive and productive work environment.
And I would say, don't be afraid to ask for help. Seek guidance from colleagues, mentors, or HR professionals when you're struggling. Don't make assumptions. Avoid making generalizations or stereotypes, and treat each person as an individual.
Fantastic. Those are all excellent points, Emma. I think that covers the key aspects of navigating cultural differences in the workplace. It's a complex topic, but with a little awareness, sensitivity, and effort, we can all create more inclusive and productive work environments.
Absolutely. And remember, it's a continuous journey of learning and growth. The more you interact with people from different cultures, the more you'll learn about yourself and the world around you.
Well said, Emma. Thank you for sharing your insights and experiences with us today.
My pleasure, Luki. And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. We hope you found this conversation helpful and informative.
We love hearing from you, so please feel free to share your own experiences and tips for navigating cultural differences in the workplace in the comments below.
And don't forget to subscribe to Fluent with Looki on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode.
Until next time, keep practicing your English and keep learning.
Bye for now.